I'm sure there's a lot of players complaining about.
And this is the opposite. This is the worst.
It ain't good.
Rough, y'all.
I do think it's going to be thicker than ever.
Why'd they do that?
With DGLO starting today, you already know the disc golf world has you covered with everything you need to know. I'm Jefferson, and I wish I had a catchphrase. Sadly, I don't. So instead, let's give a huge shout out to all our Patreon and YouTube members for continuing to support us doing what we love. The season is coming to an end as DGLO happens to be the last regular season event of the year. Because then we have the playoffs. Yeah, don't think about it too hard. Just like all those hills out at Toboggan.
It's like the best snowboarding hill in your life.
I love this course. It's super fun. The elevation, the level of elevation we get, I've been here twice before, and it's still like walking up to hole one, you're just like, oh yeah, that downhill.
It scratches that itch pretty hard right on the top of my head, man. I love coming out here. I don't know. I just like coming out here. You get to throw downhills, you get to throw uphill, you get to hit the fairways, and hopefully this year I'll get to win. That would be nice.
The biggest keys down the stretch are just going to be who can longevity go for 4 rounds here. Physical is huge. Walking uphill and being gassed out. We're a little later in the season here, so the temperature is very cool. But walking up to that big putt after you just walked up a big hill and then having the gas to hit like a circle 2 putt or a 1 putt's going to be tough.
Toboggan might be the most physically demanding course on tour. Well, besides Ivy Hills, that is. For those wondering, yes, this will have effect on players. The biggest difference is how out of breath at points you can get. No one wants to be the first to putt from 40 feet after walking up a hill people using an AVR would need a lift for.
It's pretty incredible how this little stretch, this next 100 feet, I don't care what kind of shape you're in, everyone is like panting once you get to the top of this hill.
There's another one you don't want to putt false, man.
Your 30 seconds already started, man.
I'll take all of it. Yeah, these hills are no joke. You know what they need? Ski lift.
The other big challenge that this year's DGLO provides is the extremely thick rough. Apparently the course gets cut every 3 years, and we're on that 3rd year. This is what we heard.
It's a jungle off the fairway. I don't know if you've been out there, but it ain't good.
And I'm sure there's a lot of players complaining about the how overgrown it is. I hear they cut it every 3 years, so a little unfortunate it's the 3rd year, but I'd say the actual course looks pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, I'd say about half the holes you're looking for your discs, and we're gonna have a lot of lost discs, a lot of backups. There's been a lot of cuts and scrapes on the legs, and it's gonna be a long week.
Did you really play the course if you didn't look for your disc for 30 minutes? Because this rough is rough, y'all.
If you're wondering, all the thorns are in bounds. So I've seen people come out bleeding before, and it's gonna be the worst it's ever been this year.
I do think it's going to be thicker than ever. We're in our 3rd year of the growth of Russian olives, so the sides are going to be a little thick, a little thorny, so more incentive to keep it in the fairway. I'm curious to see how people play on certain holes. It's really going to come into play on the right side of 3, 17, and then 15 is no OB, but that's going to be it's going to be pretty nice. It's a natural OB. It's going to be gross for them. So.
The biggest change is the rough is as thick as I've ever seen it. I think we have 22 spotters just one day for the course, just because we know that we don't want people to lose discs. So,
no OB and high potential to throw the disc wildly away from the basket, which means high chance of looking for discs while losing a disc. Spottles during the tournament helps out a ton, so thanks to the volunteers. But in practice rounds, we don't have that, which means you just spend a lot of time looking for discs, unfortunately.
22 spotters will be used around the course to hopefully prevent any slow pace of play due to lost discs, which has been an issue as of recent. Ezra Aderhold and Aaron Gossage talked about this possibility during their practice round.
We've had spotters on this hole and like in tournament play, and you still spend time looking for discs.
The spotter will be like, it is right here.
Right, it's like, let's you got a 10-foot area, it still takes forever to find it.
And then we'll look for
it. They'll do a good job as a spotter, but it's still impossible to find. Yeah.
So this is inside the circle right there. It's a lost disc, man. It's like I threw one in there, and we're not even gonna like.
We looked for about a minute, got some pokes with the thorns, giving up. Put it forward, we just mow it all down, and then rope it off as OB. Also, if you want like danger, if you want some kind of danger on this right side, I don't hate having something over here.
If you mow it all down and make a hazard, love it. If you just make the whole thing OB, don't hate it.
This is natural OB. And this is the opposite. This is the worst.
This is 10 times worse, in my opinion, than artificial OB. What are we talking about here?
Overall, the course didn't see much change. What'd you expect from a course with 0 touch shots? Although, makes up for it in its elevation. When looking at the T-sign distances, it doesn't paint an accurate picture. Kind of like that Gossage border story. What were you really trying to smuggle, Aaron? Lots of these holes have some sort of mass elevation, and we're talking either up or down. Toboggan also has a focus on specific beneficial landing zones for the upshots, like on flat areas before longer approaches on upslopes, setting up for much easier shots, such as holes 2 and 14. Those are just a couple examples of the harder second shots that Nate Heine loves to mention.
Because a lot of times when you're throwing upshots with the upslope like this, your arm gets way ahead of your hips because your hips are real slow since you're actually running up on this hill, whereas your arm just can swing freely. Your hips are slowed down by the upslope.
There's a lot of holes out here that are get the drive in bounds, get it in a good spot, and then attack the second shot, because a lot of the second shots are actually easier than the first shots. And I think that's a strategic intention of this course when Jim originally designed it, and I think it's a good design.
Mr. Kevin Kiefer III, please be careful around the slopes. We want your ACL to get out of here in one piece this time. Hey, I waited a full year to make a joke. You know how hard it was to not make fun of the tattoo? Don't be fooled, however. The course still presents challenge with some demanding gaps. That's what two-time world champ Isaac Robinson had to say, at least. Even if AB just wants to use a Luna for the hallway hole on hole 5. That's crazy talk. Then again, you got Jake Wolf out here cleaning the tee-pads like this. Some holes did have different OB, but for the most part, the changes were limited. Here's the notes the tournament director highlighted.
We did add OB to the left side of hole 7.
The OB left that's a new one. Isn't that new?
Yeah.
I don't remember OB left.
Pretty close. There's also OB on the green now. All around the green is OB now.
It was just on the right side last year, and honestly, with the olives growing up, it's natural OB anyways, but for pace of play, it's almost better to have it as OB. And if you're deep in that stuff, you don't want to go in there. So hole 7, we added OB to the left side. Hole 16, we made the island bigger on the front side. We had some complaints last year, especially on the FPO side, that the island was too hard. We made it bigger.
I really like changing with the island hole. I'm very excited about that. And most of the time, I'm pretty much almost OB every day. This year, hopefully, I make it safe 1 or 2.
Crazy that we have an island hole that also has trees. Normally on the Pro Tour, if you have an island hole, you got a pretty much wide open fairway to the basket. But here we got, trees that protect the island.
A great hole when there was no OB. A great hole when there was no OB. So they've now made any OB shot go to a drop zone. That tree that's right in the middle is OB. You're gonna see tons of people throw a great looking shot that's gonna hit the edge of those cedars and it's gonna drop OB, and they're gonna go to the drop zone and they're gonna take either a 4 or a 5 if they go for it.
We did change the drop zone on 16 to where if you do go out of bounds, you have to go to the drop zone or re-tee. Then 14 does have a pin position that's a little bit longer.
Oh, they moved it. What? Why'd they do that? The hole's so far. It was 800 feet last year, now it's 830 and they didn't change it. I don't know how much I appreciate this change.
Beth at 69.
I just told myself, you got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.
Of course, you can't forget about the addition of the drop zone on hole 16, preventing Simon Lizotte from any big brain moves. Although, this sign is so close to that edge, I hope someone backboards a disc in bounds. Hole 1, they did end up removing an alternate pin location. If you didn't know, this tournament will be played 4 days all on the same course. In order to have some changes day by day, a few holes have alternate spots. I appreciate the switch up, but I still gotta walk up and down the same damn hills every day. Another great add to the course was leveling out hole 7's tee pad, which Gossage can explain.
Basically, they just put these boards up here to level this run-up area. The tee pads are good length, but on some of these shots where you're throwing a little farther, it's nice to have just a level run-up. So doing something like this is really nice when it drops off behind.
A local mentioned that it was put in within the past 2 weeks as well. Glad to see proactive steps made instead of hearing the pros' wrath after the fact. Collectively, it seems that the first 8 holes are pretty well liked, but after that becomes the bonus birdie stretch as some call it. Gannon Burr explains why he thinks Toboggan is the most overrated course on tour due to this exact reason.
Definitely 100% the most overrated, and my least favorite course on tour is DGLO. I think the scoring separation is really terrible out there. It's just a lot of repetitive shots. I think it's the worst back 9 we play on tour. Back 9's about the same, and that's what I was hoping would change.
We just played 8 phenomenal holes, in my opinion. I like every single one of those first 8 holes.
There's like 4 holes, and they're all on the back 9 that I'm just like, I really strongly dislike them. I wish they would like modify them or something.
We're about to reach the stretch that is bonus birdies.
Yep.
With no separation.
It's really hard to get into circle one on the par threes consistently out here. The back nine is a beast in and of itself. There's just so many bonus birdies, and you're not going to get all of them. So my strategy is just to mitigate the bad, and more than ever, just take the birdies when they come.
Basically, 80% of the field is getting a par on these holes. Hopefully in the future there could be something added that creates challenge, as there needs to be something making players think about their shots. Right now, it appears there's little to make the holes interesting. Sure, Gossage smacks an ace directly after complaining about that, but who cares? Especially when he makes that noise.
Oh, man.
Kinda makes me lose respect, but that stash will bring me back every time. Hole 13 has experienced minor change, if you can count a limb missing, that is.
I think that we have lost a prominent branch over the years, which is a branch that was just pesky as all get out. Would block a lot of really good looking forehands. Now the play is a little bit more rewarded with a good throw.
This is one where we would hope that they have made some subtle adjustments on. There's always been a tree in the middle of the fairway, about 400 feet down, right at the bend. They cut that tree out. This hole is gonna be so much better.
This is the tree that we're all talking about, and it's just like a killer of so many good shots. One thing they did do that is really nice is they cleared out a bunch of this rough here. So if you do throw this shot, you still have a putt at the basket. So it becomes throw a good shot, make a good putt, and you get a birdie.
Yep.
But it's still just so tough to get to circle one that not a big fan of the way the hole shapes. We've given them a lot of different ways of making this hole better too. So I'm surprised that nobody's tried anything.
We'll see if clearing the rough in the gap allows for cleaner putts. Who are we kidding? We're going to see lots of pars. Which is weird when Aaron mentions that players have given many suggestions on how to improve the hole, yet nothing. Must have forgotten that a top-tier course designer made this place.
This is a power thrower's course, but with the rough, really, hole 3, I think you'll see players like Paul or even Isaac and the top guys, they may throw putter off hole 3 for the drive and then throw a longer shot for the second shot. And I think that's the beauty of this course. There's a lot of holes out here that are get the drive in bounds, get it in a good spot, and then attack the second shot, because a lot of the second shots are actually easier than the first shots. And I think that's a strategic intention of this course when Jim originally designed it. And I think it's a good design.
You know, in past years, I would try and like gas the shot, but you know, you're gonna go out of bounds probably about 7 out of 10 times on that. So I think this year I want to be taking it back a little bit and playing some golf and not trying to get too stupid out here.
Almost as stupid as someone not subscribed to the disc golf world. Come on, guys. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? In the meantime, Gossage will speak for the people.
I've gotten some feedback of flack on this hole from several players that don't throw very far, and that they're just like, I throw 2 max distance shots and don't get to the pin.
Right.
I think if the whole course was like this, I would agree that it's too long, but I think that this is the only one that's kind of in that ballpark of too long for short arms to reach. And it's not unreasonable distance. And it does challenge your uphill throwing. If you're better at throwing uphill, you should be able to get there. You should be able to throw 400, 400.
The people complaining that like, oh, you know, I throw 2 max distance shots and I can't get to the basket. There's so many holes we play that are just super tight. And it's like, it's a skill that you have to like, a skill to hit a gap. It's a skill to throw far. So it's like you could learn how to throw far.
Remember that horrible rough? Well, it doesn't get any worse than hole 15 over on the right, which, if you remember, was actually out of bounds last year.
What's really interesting about this hole is we have some of the absolute worst rough on the entire property, just to the right of that tee box, right of the landing zone.
Right there. I think maybe even like half of tee shots on this hole might go in there.
Yep.
It's like that easy to go into.
15 is also dumb. I don't like that hole.
I guess it was OB last year.
It's
Safe now, so now we have people looking in there, trying to throw shots out, getting cut up with thorns. Takes forever to find discs, lost disc penalties, you have to come all the way back up, throw again.
Not sure why the OB was changed, especially since it sounds like an extra amount of people are playing for par now. I mean, we got people describing the hole like this.
Hole 15, par 5, par 4.
This is what we in the biz call not a par 4.
3 is basically an eagle. I know it's only a birdie on the scorecard, but it pretty much is an eagle because of how hard it is.
Mere mortals are thinking 960 feet and par 4 don't make sense.
Right. It doesn't to me either, but I have had looks.
It wouldn't be DGLO if 1, we didn't mention Macbeth's 18 under every other hole, and 2, players trying that crazy eagle shot on hole 17. You got Parker Welk making it look way too easy. And with all those people still doubting him, Eagle himself had to show everyone how it's done, even with the gyroplastic. Hole 18, they move forward and pinch it off to the right. Goose will tell you he likes the change, but he only says positive things about the holes he actually does good on. Don't believe me? Go check out his and Ezra's full practice round videos for more insight. And if they annoy you, you can also choose from Dinosaur Feet Waisaki over on his channel. Or over on Jomez to hear the goofiness of Big Germ alongside Mama's boy Luke Taylor and the throw-in guy himself, Sully Tipton. Also, go watch the full Chandler Kramer interview breaking down the course over on the Hold My Bag podcast. The keys of the weekend are going to be staying out of the rough, getting down the long fairways, and, well, what do you want me to say? Make putts? Oh shit, this is a professional disc golf tournament. That's their job. Shout out to Garrett J. Verberg. Hard name to pronounce for people that make licorice. Good for them stepping up and becoming the presenting sponsor of the tournament. It's cool to see a non-disc golf company representing. And lastly, here's a quick weather status for the weekend for those wondering.
We got some rain in the forecast, but the wind going up and down these hills, it's going to be nice, a good little battle for the players. So
I did too many yesterday with that wind, and it's going to be so all week.
And that should be everything you need to know for DGLO. Make sure to drop a comment who you think will take it down. Also, if you want to see more preview videos like this, drop a like and let us know. Maybe we can make it happen for you guys.
Let me know, guys, what you guys thinking. Comment below. You know what I'm saying?
It's getting better every year, but it's so overgrown.
Well, come say that to the camera.
That's all cool kids do. Just spit. Just spit. All right, we're here at the DGLO course, Toboggan in Michigan. I've never played great here personally, so maybe it's my chance.